Good morning all. Mary Bulger here, naturalist with Iowa County Conservation. I want to welcome you to our virtual Critters Live. And as always, during today, if you have any questions or comments, please put those in the comments. They'll scroll up on my screen. So today we are going to be talking a little bit about this animal, the American beaver. And so the beaver is an animal that is very, very common. We'll find them all throughout Iowa here. We're going to talk a little bit about their characteristics, their physical characteristics, where they live, what they eat, and kind of some of the things that they're well known for. I also have some a fur and a skull that we're going to share today too, as a part of this programming here. So I'll bring my picture up just a little bit closer. So the American beaver is, of course, a mammal, so it's covered with thick, waterproof fur all over its body, except for its hairless tail. And if I bring this picture up, you can see most of its tail right here. So their tail is in the shape of a big, flat paddle. No hair on that, just lots of scales. And on that tail, it's just their skin, of course, and they use that tail for a few different things. So they'll use it when they're swimming around in the water. They are aquatic. They'll use it kind of as a rudder to help propel themselves. And they will also use it as a means of communication by slapping it in the water or kind of moving around in the water to communicate with other beavers that there might be danger in the area. And so they are a rodent. Yes, they are a very large member of the rodent family, second largest in the world after the capybara, which we don't have here. They live in tropical rainforest. Beavers can weigh, anywhere from 50 to 100 pounds. They can get very big, so they're a pretty good sized animal. I'll kind of go a little bit into their anatomy just a little bit, and we'll kind of look at some more details. But I wanted to share the fur with you today. And so beavers still are trapped today for their fur, and we used to have a lot more beaver here in the U.S., but due to trapping, their numbers had gone down, but they're still very common. Let's see if I can maybe hold it up lengthwise. This one is a pretty good size beaver fur. So the beaver has kind of two layers to its fur. If I bring it a little bit closer. So it has this really warm undercoat that is thick. It keeps them warm and is waterproof. They actually have a special oil gland, and they rub that oil all over their fur when they're grooming to help keep them waterproof, because of course they are aquatic animals. They're in the water quite a lot. And then you might be able to see these longer hairs that aren't as soft. These are called guard hairs. They help keep the beaver clean, okay? And so they have, this one again is a very large beaver. When they're taken to the taxidermist and cleaned, they're usually kind of cleaned out into a big circle or an oval. And they're used for clothing. They were used for furs, for blankets by Native Americans, and lots of different things. So nice, thick, warm, waterproof fur to help keep them warm from the water. So let's take a close-up look at their face. They have kind of a very unique rodent-shaped face, of course, very round. But one thing that is very distinctive are their big front incisors, their big front teeth. And they're actually kind of an orangish red, and that's because they have extra iron minerals in them to make them really strong and tough, because they are eating plant materials that are woody in nature, so trees and shrubs and sticks and bark and things like that. So they need to be very strong, and they are actually worn down because they continually grow. They don't grow like our teeth. Once they come in there, that's all the bigger they'll get. Their front incisors will continually grow. If they don't eat, then they'll grow extra long. So that's one reason they have those extra minerals, to make them strong, but they can still wear down as they're eating. They have a big nose and big ears and big eyes. So they have a good sense of smell. They have a really good sense of hearing. to help kind of keep themselves safe from predators. And let's take a look at a beaver skull here. So I have a beaver skull here. I'm missing actually both parts of some of my teeth here. So you can see that the beaver skull has those big front incisors, those big front teeth. If we take a side view of their skull, you can see it's very flat. It's not very domed at all. They have their eye openings on the sides of their head. And if we take a look at their other teeth, they don't have any canines, so no sharp teeth. And then they have those flat molars back here. That tells us that they only eat plant materials. And so that means they are a herbivore. Now I do have the bottom of my skull here. It's in a couple pieces, but I'm going to put it together so you can kind of see how they go. Again, flat molars right here. So if this skull were together, you can see that those front incisors, again, a few chips gone here, front incisors are really big, good for gnawing on those plant materials, right? We'll look at a few of those plant materials later. So they have really unique paw prints or track marks right here. This is their hind foot, so much bigger than their front, and it has webbing in between the toes. That's because they are an aquatic animal. It is about 6 inches in length, pretty big hind foot. Also helps them when they're swimming around in the water. And this is their front foot. Looks a lot like our hand, except with some little claws there. Again, they're swimming around in the water, but it is smaller than their hinds, only about 2.5 inches there. So here I have a picture of some beavers, a beaver pair, that is kind of poking their head out of where they live. And so beavers, they use their front teeth to chew plant materials. So sticks from trees themselves, saplings, sometimes they can get pretty big also as well. But they use maybe bank sides and tree materials, sticks and things to build their shelters when they are in those areas. So they can bring down some pretty good sized trees, some pretty big trees, and also some small trees as well. And they're going to use those materials for their 2 structures that they build. So one of them is called a Beaver Lodge, and this is a big heap of sticks. You might not think that, in relatives terms, that this type of animal could build something this big. I would say that this is probably about 6 or 7 feet tall and very big around, 10 or more in diameter here. So, and there's a little entrance in here, and actually they have underwater entrances as well, especially in the winter time. And this just looks like a big pile, but there are actually lots of rooms in here in their lodge. Taking a look here at what they might look like. So here's the Beaver Lodge, and here's the surface of the water, but they have entrances to their lodge, and this helps protect them from predators that go underwater and come out into the water, right? And they have more than one entrance for safety as well. And they'll continually use those big front teeth to chew those plant materials and build up their structures. Now they're going to have different chambers in here. They're going to have food storage. Usually that's underwater, especially in the winter time, to kind of help preserve those things. They're going to have sleeping chambers. They're going to have nesting chambers when they have young. So lots of different kind of little nooks in this area, and those underwater entrances, which are pretty cool. So let's take a look at what a beaver can chew. Oh, let's see. Oh, I got a question. Oh, from my sister Brandy. So does it take more than one beaver to build a lodge? And yes, so a pair, if they, let's say they don't have young yet, they will build that together. So it'll be a little teamwork. Now, if they do have young, because babies do stay with their parents for quite a while, the young would help build that too. So it can be kind of a family effort there. So let's take a look at what the beaver can chew. So I have an actual, this is probably the bottom of a tree, a small tree sapling, but it's probably about 3 inches in diameter. and you can see that it's chewed to a point right here. They will eat the bark, they will eat the wood, they'll eat leaves, they'll eat twigs and things like that, all parts of the tree. And then I also have with me to show the delicate work. So they can do that big, they can chew down a tree, but they can also do really delicate work. I have a very skinny, tiny stick here, and they can chew the bark off of this stick, which is pretty cool. Oh, I'll see. Oh, you're welcome, Brandy. Thanks for the very nice comment. So here is that stick that they use their big front teeth, both heavy duty work and delicate work that they can do. And so then we have the Beaver Lodge, which is where they live, but they can also make beaver dams. And so we have a picture of one here that is blocking this little stream. And so what the function of that for the beaver is to back up a little bit of water and create this kind of wetland area or a little bit of a flooded area. And then they can find food in that area, or add to where they live. This also provides habitat for a lot of other aquatic animals, so fish and frogs and toads and aquatic insects. So they help lots of animals out when they are building their lodges or building their dams, right? And so I have one more picture here that I want to share with you that is the beaver in the water. Okay, and so the beaver, again, I said it has aquatic, they swim around in the water. That's where they find their food, that's where they live. They have those adaptations of that waterproof fur, those webbed feet, and that big tail as a rudder to help them. Now in the wintertime, when the top of the water is frozen, they stay in their lodge most of the time, and so they don't have to get up out of the water. They store their food underwater, either in their lodge or just underwater outside of their lodge. So they have kind of like a pantry there to store their food. So that's all I have about the beaver today. If you have any questions that I did not answer or you're wondering anything else, please put those in the comments, or you can email me with questions or a request for any of our future Critters Live at mbulger@co.iowa.ia.us. You can check out our past Critters Live here on our Facebook page, or even on our YouTube page. Just search Iowa County Conservation on our YouTube page. You can see all of our past Critters Live, as well as our other virtual series, Virtual Crafts Live. So thanks very much for joining me today. My challenge for all of you is to get outdoors, go to an area that has some aquatic plants or aquatic area, and look for signs of beaver around, okay? Those tree chews or anything else like that. It's going to be a beautiful week. Spring is here. Everything's kind of grown and everything. So have a wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.